You decided to become a teacher right after graduating from high school, and about 2 years of teaching, you left to work for a construction company. After working for various companies for 15 years and perfecting your craft, you decided to start your own construction company in 1990. You built homes for people, you sold building materials, you built and ran your own hotels. Through hard work, smart work and consistency, you eventually became the biggest real estate developer in your country. But after a while, you began to feel like a big fish in a small pond because your country is one of Africa's smallest. So you gradually expanded to one African country at a time, and now your business is present in 8 countries. Your estate in Nigeria alone is worth more than $150 million. This is how African real estate tycoon Mustapha Njie did it. Mustapha Njie was born on the 5th of February 1957 in Banjul, the Gambia, to Ismail Njie and Ajibajan Faye. He was the 5th of 7 children, 5 of whom were girls. Mustapha came from a modest family background. He started working when he was 14 years old at the docks in Banjul. He was an average student during his school days in Gambia High School, and his strongest areas were technical subjects because he discovered his passion early on with woodworking. But when he reached Form 4, he wanted to do chemistry because no parent will send their child to school expecting the child to come out as a carpenter because they believed that there was no future in woodworking. But one of his teachers saw and realized his potential and knew that if he continued on this path, he would be great someday. So the teacher persuaded him, and in the end, he dropped chemistry and concentrated on his technical subjects. Because he was so good and passionate about woodworking and carpentry, after graduation, he was immediately hired by the same school as a junior woodwork teacher. But that employment only lasted 3 months before he moved to Miserio Technical Center as a junior instructor. Miserio is now known as St. Peter's Technical Junior and Senior Secondary School. And while at St. Peter's as a junior instructor, he was working as a carpenter, producing chairs and tables for the school. After 2 years of teaching, he received an employment offer from Balfour Beatty, a British construction firm in the Gambia, where he was hired as an engineering assistant when he was only about 20 years old. As he got to Balfour Beatty, he saw a huge opportunity to learn and develop himself because the engineers there were all highly skilled and qualified. So he learned everything from drawing a plan to quantity surveying to basic engineering. In 1986, his employers sent him to the United Kingdom to pursue a diploma in site management. When he returned, he continued working for them, but because Banjul was small and everybody knows everybody, they started to offer him private contracts, even though he was working for someone else. And those private contracts got to a point where they started to get in the way of his job. So he left to start his own construction company in 1990. This world is all about connections and who you know. With the networks and connections he built during his employment days, it was easy for him to start a construction company and obtain high-level contracts because he has not only the who, but also the what. So with knowledge and connections combined, his business took off like a rocket. Some of his first and most notable jobs were a warehouse he built for Charbel in Banjul, the Gambia's Women's Bureau also in Banjul, various structures for Gambia's telecommunication company, various schools and a hospital in Farafenni. Business was booming and he needed to diversify, so he expanded to the building material business. He was chosen by EI for a 3-month development program in the United States funded by USAID. He was assigned to a real estate developer who showed him how development was done in Las Vegas, Miami, and Washington, which inspired him. So when he returned back home, he immediately acquired land in Kololi, built a unit and rented it out. When he saw that there was a demand, he bought more land in the same area and built 5 more units to test the market, and those properties sold out. From construction to retail to building and running the old Tafbel and Keria Bajan Hotel, a hotel he named either after his mother or his daughter, who is now the general manager of TAF Africa Global. He knew that there was a demand for large-scale housing development because at that time, Gambia only had 2 to 3 massive real estate developments, which are Bakote Estate, Kanifing, and Brusubi, all of which were developed by Social Security Housing. So he hired 2 consultants to conduct a feasibility study. And when the study was completed, he approached the Ministry of Local Government and Lands with a proposal to allocate him a land, because the goals he had could not be achieved alone. He will need to partner with the government. So he approached the ministry with his proposal, and they allocated him 8.5 hectares of land in Kanifing, around the current-day American University. He then sought a loan to begin the project and was granted a $1 million loan by Shelter Afrique. The project was called Sinchoyahi. Work was progressing. He even began selling plots of land, but then things began to fall apart. Former Gambian President Yahya Jammeh intervened and halted the project because rumors circulated that a shady business went on between TAF and the ministry, and taxpayers felt it was wrong to allocate that much land to a single individual. When this occurred, the president fired 5 top government officials, including the minister, permanent secretary, director of lands, director of physical planning, and deputy permanent secretary. This was one of the early mistakes of TAF, and on the other hand, he also overmarketed himself with his slogan, Operation House the Nation, because he said it was never his responsibility to house the nation, and this is a mistake he learned from. TAF was a determined individual. Failure was never an option for him, so he approached the government for a second time, but government made it clear that Kanifing was out of bound. After some serious and consistent bargaining, he was allocated 10 hectares of land in Yundum, where he built Yarambamba, an estate with 210 homes, which were all sold out. That was his first huge housing success. As a determined and dedicated young man on a mission, he approached the government with another proposal. And because of his success with Yarambamba estate, they again allocated him 30 hectares of land in Brufut. And this time, his target was not low-income earners. He wanted to target medium and high-income earners. He went on to develop Brufut Gardens, an estate for medium and high-income earners. He was slowly achieving success in the Gambia by developing one project after another. But one of the projects that he is most proud of was the African Union villas he pre-financed and built in 2006. He pre-financed and built 52 villas in 4 months, which everyone thought was impossible, and that is why, up to date, his favorite quote is, "It always seems impossible until it's done." Despite his success, the project sparked a lot of debate because Gambians felt that the project was a waste and it was unnecessary to build villas worth more than $5 million for African heads of states who will only be in the country for a week. And that money could have been used for something else. And they were right, because following the AU summit, the villas were divided and some parts were sold to Social Security, with TAF still owning some portion. Back in 1993, TAF was one of the founding members of an advocacy group called West African Enterprise Network. And through this network, he and 12 other members had the opportunity to travel across Africa. Through those travels, he saw different opportunities in different countries. But at the time, he knew he didn't have the capacity to expand to another country because he had not fully established himself in the Gambia. So he worked extremely hard to fully establish himself in the Gambia. As his capacity grew, he gradually began to expand to one African country at a time. His first country of expansion was Senegal, but now he has a presence in 8 different countries, with his largest and most expensive project in Nigeria River State, which is worth $165 million. The project is a public-private partnership between the River State government and TAF Africa Global. The government provided the land, and TAF, with financing partners such as Shelter Afrique and UN Habitat, financed and built the structures. The government owns 20% and TAF owns the remaining 80%. The estate was built by Senegalese, Gambians, and Nigerians. TAF is now 65 years old, and you would think that for a 65-year-old man, he will slow down a bit. But he is now working harder than ever because of his goal of building 1 million homes in Africa from 2018 to 2038. Right now, as I am making this video, he is building a smart city in the Gambia, twice the size of Gambia's capital and 10 times bigger than his estate in Nigeria. Another major project he intends to launch is also a PPP with Gambia's Investment and Export Promotion Agency, in which he will build a 160-hectare business park with commercial zones, industrial zones, and residential zones. It is West Africa's only business park located within an airport area. He used to build 200, 300 and 500 homes, but now he doesn't build anything below 1,000. He's about to start another big project in Sierra Leone because he recently signed an MOU with the Sierra Leonean government to build a structure similar to the Tough City in Gambia. A boy born in Dobson Street, Banjul, in one of Africa's smallest countries, has built a company that is now worth billions in value and has a presence across sub-Saharan Africa. But despite his success, he remains a humble and approachable individual. He has a strong social media presence where he shares business tips, and he also has a foundation where he gives back 1% of his annual revenue. Each year, his foundation gives young Gambian entrepreneurs a chance to win $1 million at the TAFCON annual conference. So he's not just making money and hoarding it, he is giving back to the community. He stated that one of the reasons he was able to accomplish all of this success was his open management style. He does not take full control and ownership of everything. Instead, he outsources and focuses on the most important things. And from the start, he built the company in such a way that even if he's away for a year, the company will still run. He claims that 90% of his management team is made up of women because he believes they are more efficient and trustworthy. This could be attributed to his upbringing among 5 female siblings. The first lesson to draw from Tough's story is to always prioritize yourself and follow your dreams. Remember when Tough was in high school and wanted to study chemistry despite his passion for woodworking. Maybe his parents made that chemistry decision, but he ended up following his passion after his teacher persuaded him. When he first started working, he moved from Gambia High to St. Peter's to a British construction firm and then to another firm. Like whenever he saw a slightly better opportunity, he would move, regardless of how attached he was to the place. And do you recall when he began accepting private contracts? The moment he felt it was necessary, he did not hesitate to establish a business. If he had followed social norms, there would be no Tough Africa Global today. The second lesson is to never settle. Always try out new things. When he first started his construction company, he saw an opportunity in the building material business and seized it. He then saw another opportunity in the tourism industry, seized it. He saw another opportunity in massive real estate developments, seized it. He didn't take those opportunities because his business wasn't making money. In fact, his construction business was thriving, but his entrepreneurial gene wouldn't let him settle because he knew there was more out there. There's always more. If he had been content and settled for that money he was making in construction, there would be no Tough Africa Global today. The third lesson is know and have the right people, and half of your problems are solved. You've heard me say a quite number of times that he did this and that, he built this and that, but no person can do all of that alone. He was able to achieve great things in life because of the connections he made, the people he met, and the staff he hired. They were all instrumental in his success because you are limited in what you can do as an individual. You must have the right people around you and build the right systems because you cannot be everywhere. His vision for the next 20 years is to build 1 million homes across sub-Saharan Africa. 5 years have already gone by, meaning he has 15 years to go. However, even if he leaves today, the work will continue due to the systems he established. This is what true leadership looks like. Thank you all for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more. See you on the next one.